We're back, John, and have I got some news for you? This isn't a massive thing, but Apple have recently done their their like September annual release. Okay. Usually we get a new iPhone, new iPad, a bunch of new services they've been working on. And this year was slightly different because there were no new iPhones launched. Ooh, iPhone 12 has been delayed. Obvious reason, there's probably a supply chain issue, but also there's a hype issue where you can't go out to the Apple Store in confidence to get one.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a problem for Apple because that means you're probably going to either do it online, which will overstress the delivery system, or you're going to do it through a third-party seller, which is, of course, Apple's worst nightmare. How dare you use
third party? No, you must buy from us.
So this is The Guardian. Apple did leave one surprise, but it wasn't for consumers. So Apple released their new iOS update, iOS 14. It brings basically the Android experience to iOS. I've had the iOS 14 for a couple of months now because we have our developer license with Apple, so we get access to things before everyone else. And it brings things like widgets to the home screen and app folders that fill themselves up based on AI. There's a few background improvements. I'm sure there's a worse battery life, and there's slightly slower for CPU older devices and all of that. But the interesting thing is that developers were not expecting this to happen. They were not expecting this to happen at all. The developer community, I don't really know why they weren't expecting it to happen because I had iOS 14 and I was expecting it to be released.
Yeah.
But I think really the community expects a significant software update when a new piece of hardware is released.
Okay.
And we knew that the new hardware was probably not going to be released. Now, this is a problem for developers because it fundamentally changes how the OS works.
Okay.
And it's got a very heavy focus on privacy, as always with Apple.
Yeah.
And there are more restrictions on access to camera and microphone. So people's apps are breaking.
More.
Yeah, people's apps are breaking. They've also launched their own other services at the event. But independent developers like us, a lot of people were saying that the short notice has left them frantically rushing to update their own apps to work with the new systems.
It's crazy that just completely disrupts the whole industry that they own, right? But just because they're like, yeah, we'll just do that.
I mean, I'm a sort of fan of Apple. I'm a fan of how they kicked off the computing industry. Yeah. I'm a fan of their design. I really love their design. I'm not a fan of the control they have over our industry. Yeah. I'm not a fan that I have to have an Apple Mac to make an Apple app. Yeah. And things like that. That annoys me. That's just bad. In my head, that's bad design, and that puts off developers.
In my head, it's monopoly.
It is. It's monopoly, and this is the latest example of that. Yeah. Which is if they put out a software update, your app that's your livelihood, that makes you money and put food on the table, doesn't work anymore. Yeah. And they don't have to tell you that they're going to put one out. They just put it out. Yeah. So short notice, especially if we've worked with clients, made them apps that they can't update themselves. They would have to start a new contract with us in order for us to update it to the latest OS, or they have a maintenance contract which would cover that as a sort of insurance. But if there are people with an app that makes them money but they can't actually update it themselves, then that app for the foreseeable next few months doesn't do anything. And then where does your user base go?
I mean, imagine you brought out a law without telling anyone. Right? That the next day you can't wear red. Right, tomorrow you can't wear red. Yeah. Right? Yeah. No warning. Yeah. And everybody's like, but my entire outfit's red. Yeah. You know, like nobody's wearing red socks, like they're all getting chucked in the bin. Somebody has to deal with all these like blue, like everybody's selling blue jumpers because you can't wear red, and then the next day they bring out a law that's like, oh yeah, but now you can't wear blue. You have to wear red.
I think if you become an Apple developer, you need to have You need your clients and you, like us as a company, we have a responsibility to tell our clients
I think
that
so.
it's difficult to work with Apple.
Yeah.
Like, we're currently working on a project, and in the actual timeline is a 3 to 4 week potential delay just if Apple doesn't like the app.
Yeah.
If they don't like the app, and they don't have to state that why they don't like it, they just have to say we don't like it, it's not coming on our App Store.
Yeah.
And they have been known to do that in the past. So we have to put that into the timeline. I remember in past projects, we've had our app rejected by the Apple Store 48 hours before it goes live. And we had a massive launch event planned. There were hundreds of people there. It wasn't the sort of thing we could mess up.
Yeah.
And there's me on the phone to Apple, like, can we fast track this? And luckily, they do have a fast track mechanism. But that control, the fact that I can't make something without someone else going, yes, we like it.
Yeah.
And that controls the whole project. Like, what if you build an app and they just say, no, you can't have it on the App Store, full stop? Whose responsibility is that then?
Yeah, I think they definitely have a responsibility to look after the people they're kind of employing. They're not employing them, but they have a responsibility to those people who make a livelihood out of their product.